What is color to you? Color is what brings ideas to life. Color is sharing emotions with the world. Color is what captures the moment. For us, color is a combination of precise calculations and well-defined algorithms, uncompromising design and engineering, relentlessly refining our methods, and spending countless hours to perfect our product. For us, that is color. Every detail counts. Our promise is to give you the most color-critical monitor ever, and to vibrantly bring your vision to life. With your color, the true color.
Apologies, that was on mute. So my name is Vicente Lofschmidt. I am the Digital Marketing Manager for BenQ in Central and Eastern Europe, and it's my pleasure to welcome you today to this photography webinar with Jovana Rikalo. And I can't tell you how excited we are today to welcome you. We're at over 650 registrations, so it's just incredible to see the reception and to see the excitement for today. And I think today's going to be a really fantastic learning experience. Jovana has prepared a series of videos, of behind the scenes videos of her photo shoots to really show you her process and to show you how she goes about doing her photo shoots, and to really go in depth for those of you who want to work with models, who want to understand how to combine a model with a location to evoke certain emotions, and all the preparation that goes into that. It's really a fantastic privilege to have her here with us today, and we're really so excited to get this going. Before I begin, I would like to point out two more points. The first of which being that today's webinar will be recorded and will be sent to you afterwards, so you'll be able to watch the recording in its full. And the second of which being that each of the participants today will be receiving a small gift from BenQ, which is a 10% discount code on our AccuColor monitors. Now, for those of you who don't know, BenQ has two lines of monitors which are built for artists in mind. We have the TD series, which is built for designers, and the SW series, which is built for photographers. Jovana herself has been using the SW series now since 2018, which is also when I began working with her. And these monitors are built from the ground up to really be built for artists in mind, for artists' needs in mind. The most important of this is accurate color, or as we call it at BenQ, AccuColor technology. The most important thing as an artist for you is to know that the colors that you're seeing reproduced on your screen, on your monitor, are also correct, that they're also being displayed correctly, that they're also being shown accurately. And if you're an artist and you've worked on perhaps your laptop or a non-photography monitor before, you might know this experience where you're working on something and you suddenly realize that the image is not matching up with reality, is not matching up with the image that you have on your camera. BenQ has developed AccuColor technology to ensure that you have the most accurate color monitor possible when you're working on your designs or on your photography. And the monitors come with a host of other really neat, and I have to say really cool features, a host of different modes, whether you're someone who works with animation, you're working with CAD/CAM, as I know some engineers work with that, whether you're working with 3D, black and white photography, or working with different color spaces like Adobe RGB or sRGB. There's a host of different features that are built in mind with that. There's also quite a neat feature, which is that reflections have been minimized to the smallest, really to the smallest degree. The SW line comes with a shading hood, which blocks out light. They're super matte coated, so you have almost no reflection when you're working with them. And my personal favorite is something called the hotkey puck, which is a little remote control, which allows you to switch between different color modes, switch between different modes, change the settings on the fly without having to worry about fiddling with small buttons on the monitor. And one more thing I'll say to this is that we have the privilege of working with such a diverse audience, people that are just starting off with their design or the photography journey, or people just like Jovana who are working professionally and have been doing this for years. This is their vocation, this is their passion. No matter where you are at your step with photography or design, there is a monitor for you. Whether you're looking for something in a simpler resolution at just full HD, and you're not looking for some super large monitor, or you are someone who's looking for really the largest real estate possible, so to speak, there is a monitor built in mind for you, whether you're just starting off or whether this is really your vocation. And one more thing I'll say to that is that do not take our word for it. I've been working with BenQ now for a number of years, and I've had the pleasure of working with so many talented photographers and designers just like Jovana. And the reviews that we produced, that the artists always produce, are always based upon transparency and honesty. We never send a script. We never tell the artist to say what we would like them to say. This is really based off of their organic experience with the monitors. And I can say from my own experience working with so many artists that it is always a reaction of deep satisfaction working with the BenQ monitors. So I urge you to do your own research. Do not take my word for it. And speaking about Jovana, for those of you who don't know her, Jovana is a prolific artist from Serbia who's been working with photography now for a number of years. And Jovana has literally at this point worked with dozens, if not hundreds of models, which is why she is so well equipped to speak on today's topic. Jovana, if you checked her Instagram, where she has over 200,000 followers and is always growing more and more, you will see that it's very well deserved. She has so much experience and such an incredible ability to work with so many different people and so many different types of locations with so many different effects, sometimes even with live animals on an international level. And yet she always manages to bring out such incredible emotion and an incredible scene, an incredible story from all of that she's doing. And you'll see today in the videos that we have prepared for you, it's really incredible the amount of preparation that goes into it, the amount of people that she has working with her sometimes, the amount of things that she has to keep in mind. And that's something that we hope you'll also be learning from her today. She's been featured in a host of different magazines, digital SLR, practical photography, digital photo magazine, Bella Grace, Fairy magazine, and even has worked with Canon Europe. And yeah, the last thing I will say regarding the structure of today's webinar is we will be going through the content first, and at the very end, we'll have a Q&A section. If you have questions now, feel free to ask them, but just know that we will have a dedicated time at the very end for your questions. And that is enough for me. With that, I would like to call Jovana, and we can start the webinar.
Hello, guys. And I would love to thank you, Vicente, for such a great introduction. And I want to say thank you for coming for this webinar, and thank you, BenQ, for hosting it. Before we start, I would like to say something about myself first. So my name is Jovana. I'm a fine art and storytelling photographer. Wait a second, I have some troubles with, can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
I want to play the presentation. Wait a second, just here. Sorry for these troubles. So before we start, I would like to say something about myself, about a few words. So my name is Jovana Rikalo, a fine art and storytelling photographer from Serbia. I love to show emotions in my photography. I love to, each period of my life, I love to put into photography. So the past, the present, the future, I always love to play with different scenes and different sceneries. And so to me, so much important to always have some ideas in my head. Sometimes I have some challenging periods, sometimes I'm not inspired, and that is totally fine. So I think every artist must create when they're inspired and when they are good to create something. And I'm very excited for today's webinar because I want to cover a few different photo shoots with you. That is a blue truck photo shoot, yellow forest, treehouse, bicycle, and fall photo shoots. So during these whole photo shoots, I will talk about the preparation, scene and setup, assistance on location, model posing, and communication with a model. So I think this is very important for when you're doing photography, and how you prepare the whole set, how you communicate with the model, how you choose the model, and how to prepare the whole set. But before we start, I would like to say, to ask you, how do you work with photography? Are you a professional photographer? Are you a hobby photographer? Or are you just starting with photography? You can vote here now. I'm very interested to see the answers. I was starting with photography 8 years ago, and time flies so fast, and I can't believe that it's almost 9 years since I'm starting with photography. So I'm really excited to see your answers. Let me see. So yeah, these are the results. Lots of you hobby photographer, professional photographer, and just starting with photography. So this is quite good. And I know when you're starting with photography, it's you need a lot of time to pass from the hobby to professional. So I think it lasts about 1 or 1.5 years just to be a professional photographer, and depending on your experience. That's nice. Okay, so let's start with the slide. So the first photo shoot would be the blue truck photo shoot. This one was very interesting because the whole preparation was very interesting, because I didn't plan to find this location. When I was traveling to one part of the city to another part of the city, I was driving a car, and then I spotted one blue truck near the road, and it was around 2 or 3 times when I passing by, and the third time I said, Jovana, you will stop here, and then I must see this truck, because it was catching my attention, and I asking myself, should I take this shooting to here or no, should I? Because it was very abundant. Lots of bugs were there, and lots of it was some of the heel, and but I wanted to give a chance, you know. And the location scouting is very important because you never know what you will find. And lots of people are saying to me, I cannot find the locations, it is too hard. Well, we have all locations in front of us. We just have to take the most challenging idea, the most adventures to make these locations pretty interesting, as this truck. So I gave myself a chance to take photos there. So once I come into the truck, this is very important to know when you're scouting the location. Do you need permission or do you not need the permission? So because this was abandoned and nobody was there, so I didn't ask for a permission because I didn't know who to ask. And if you are taking photos maybe somewhere in the city or somewhere where there are lots of people around, or where you have people in front of this building, I think it's good to ask for a permission, but it's really different from each location. Do you need or no? Then abandoned places, good or bad. So I think every abandoned place will look good on the photos because it is old, it is untouched, it is so mystic, it is something unusual. People didn't see that like most of the time, so it will catch their attention always. Even if you find some abandoned truck, abandoned car, abandoned place, it will always be interested. But make sure to know what you will do with this location, what theme you will create there. So this is very important. So I think you can always go to the abandoned place, and lots of people already have so many places in their cities where they live. Dress choice and blue like a truck. I will show you after. I have lots of dresses in my studio, and it is always such a hard time finding the right dress, finding the right colors, which will fit good. Sometimes I do love to combine the dress color with the color of a prop or a scene or something else. So this for this scene, I wanted to combine the dress color blue as a truck because I think it will give such a nice vibe. And with this scene, I wanted to connect her with a truck because I wanted to show how that she's living there, that she's making her own truck house, and she's blending together with the whole truck and the whole scene together. Where to find the magical dresses sources? So this was most of the questions people always ask where I found these dresses. So you can find online or offline. If you are finding the online dresses, I think the best way is to find AliExpress, eBay, where you can find most of affordable prices. And these dresses are very good only for photos. If you want to wear this dress and show somewhere outside, I think you better not, because the material isn't that the best. It is so strong color, but for photography is magical. And offline, you can always go for boutiques. You can always ask designers or some friends or family who will rent your dress. And for the people, they're always interested. Even the boutiques or designers, they always want to see usage of their dresses in your photos. So that is always a good promote for them. And you always have to ask. You didn't lose anything if somebody decline you. You will see after in the video, I will show you all my wardrobe and which dress I choose. The main tip is don't forget about the water, food, and blanket. Of course, you won't forget the water and food because we eat and drink, but the blanket, why? Because if we go to abandoned places, there's lots of dust, and you never know what you will find there, trust me, because I had lots of interesting situations in these places. So maybe you will find another person there, so you never know. And bring blanket for the model to sit down, to put under the model, or wherever they will stand or sit. And of course, bring the bag with you to keep that together after, to go to the dryer to make it clean afterwards. Time planning. So this is so important when it comes to storytelling photography, because how you spread the time for preparation, for the scene and setup, you must fit into the time zone. If you prefer to take photos maybe 1 hour, that is only taking photos. You need time for the preparation, to go to the location, to decorate the whole scene, and how you will organize your time is a practice, of course, and you only have to do this a couple of times, and then you will know how much time you need. I'm personally very quick. I love to everything do in a hurry, and I'm always in speed up, even when I speak. So for me, I do very quick, but for some other person is totally different. They may be slower, or the models are slower. So you must always meet the person in front of you to know in what person you have in front of you. And picking up the model from location. This is also part of the preparation. Sometimes models lives in your city, sometimes they're in another city. I have lots of models who are far, maybe 5-6 hours from my city, so they need time to come to the location. Then you must go to the bus station to pick up the model, then to go to the location with him, because if they're coming to your city for the first time, they are not familiar with the places and they don't know where to go. So it is so important to explain the model, that you will wait them, that you will pick up the model, and that you will together go to the location. This is about the preparation. So the scene and setup. The less time we are having when taking photos. The whole other time we spend on the scene and setup and the preparation. So you must always even write down the ideas or what you will bring on the location that day, or to write in your mobile, laptop, or whatever you have, just to don't forget. When it comes to scene and setup, it is so important to make the model ready. And this means that explain the concept, what do you want from them, because model, if you bring model to the location and not telling anything what is happening that day, the model will come and only maybe just stay and look at you and, Jovana, what to do now? So it will be maybe awkward and very strange, and it is so important to explain the model, the whole concept. Maybe you will say, oh, you will live in the truck, you will combine with the blue color of the truck with your dress. So it will go with the scene with the flowers all around you. So the model will know exactly what do you want from them. They will think, oh yeah, she wants maybe a magical, dreamy vibe, so I will go these poses, that poses, so they will know exactly. And this was very interesting because I worked with this girl for the first time, and when she comes to the location, she starts smiling so hard, laughing, and I said, trust the process, because when she saw that truck, she was like, what is this? And then after, when she's seeing the photos, she was like, oh my God, these photos are very nice. So you must explain and to trust the process. Decorate the location. If you don't have anything on the location, then you can bring your own decoration to the set. That means that bring the flowers, bring the other props, maybe some big dress, maybe whatever you want, baskets, apples, flowers. You have a freedom to bring whatever you want on that location. And it is so important to not leave it like that, because you want to make it something special and not like on the location, like it's still standing. Dress and cool temperature. During the summer days, model can wear the dresses, of course, but sometimes that is hot. But during the from September to March, I think it's pretty cold outside. And during this time, model must have some warmer clothes, maybe some blanket or maybe some jacket. Because and it is so important to make pauses during the time, because some models can't stand the cold, some models can't stand. So it is so important when it's too cold outside to bring the model who can stand the cold. Weather and sunset. At this photo shoot, I wanted to make a sunset photos, because when sun is coming down and when it's sunny outside, it is so nice to look at the sunset under the truck. And this photo shoot happened after the Yellow Forest photo shoot, and it was we come a little bit late here, so we didn't have the most beautiful sunset, but I take advantage of it. I will insert the sky in the final image, because to me the sky here on the raw images were very empty. I didn't have anything in the skies, any details, so I wanted to add a sky afterwards. And this is so important to choose the right weather. And when there is no wind, we will talk about the wind when it comes to bicycle photo shoot, because it was very challenging that day. And the sunset is also looks very beautiful, and it is always such a plus when working with models on location. Now we are coming to assistance on location, and why it's so important to have help on the set and not working alone. Flower arrangement. So you can hire anybody who can make something on the set for you. So I usually use flowers on my sets and on my shootings. So in that cases, I love to hire a florist to make me arrangement, because if I do it alone, it never look good. Yeah, I can put the flowers, but the way they think on location, the way they place the flowers, because this is their job, of course, they will place it in a right way. And when you explain them how do you want, they will know it. Hire an assistant. This means that you can't work alone. Yes, maybe in the beginning and when you're starting with photography, or if you're taking portraits, then you don't need an assistant. But if you are doing some complex project, if you need one more person who will help you, then you must have a help, because you can't do it alone. You can hire a special person who will help you. You can hire, maybe ask for your family member or a friend. Of course, if you ask your family or a friend, then you don't ask for money. But if you hire an assistant, at first, maybe you can say to him, maybe you can, if you don't have a budget for assistant, maybe you can ask, do you want to have some skills on the set to see how everything is going and how the whole preparation and scene and setup looks like. So this will be experience for you afterwards. And lots of people will say yes. Some of them, they say no, but that is totally fine. And you can always find somebody without the budget at the beginning. If they're doing every day for you for the whole month, that I think is totally fine to pay them some amount of the money, maybe for 20 euros for a day, or from 200 to 600 euros maybe for a month or more. It depends on how much project you have that day and during the month. And that is totally different from person to person. And this is, I was talking about family member or a friend. And this is also very good at the beginning, because lots of of course, your family will help you and your friends. But if you are asking that for every day, the whole day, then they probably have something other to do. They will maybe busy, so they won't give all themselves to this project. And that is why you need a special person and assistant to help you. Prices, I already said that, so it is very different for each people, and how much time you need and how much time you build into the whole project. An eye for details, this is also important, because you cannot hire somebody and just for hiring somebody. You just have to have somebody who will help you on that project. If they are expert for the flower, they will you will hire them. If they know how to make prop, then you will hire them. So you cannot hire somebody who is making the flowers and say to them, and make me this prop, make me that prop, because this is not assistant for that part of the job and for the other. So make sure to find a person for each part of the job. And in that case, they will work the best and give the best themselves. And you will see it in the results after. When it comes to the model posing, it is very important to explain the concept. What do you want from them? So people, lots of models love to practice in front of the mirror, love to see themselves. They know what exactly their faces looks like on the photos, lots of models has which side is the best. Sometimes I ask that questions too, which side of the face for you is more beautiful? And then the model said this one, and then I said, okay, then look at this side. For me, it is very important for photography to know how visually want to look like, but side, it's not important for me, but for models, yes, of course. So it isn't so important to know the model what they want. So the next thing is communication with the model. to know exactly what you want from the model. Of course, if you're starting with photography and don't know where to start, I think the best is to work only with one model and no prop or anything else, because you're getting experience in the model in that case, and you will only have your time with the model, how to communicate, how to explain the model. It is so important to meet the model before the set and to know their body language, their facial expressions, and how they look, and if they are shy, if they're confident. And in that case, you will know how to place the model on the set. This is very important. And to communicate with them on location. Because if you're not talking anything during the set and the model maybe is too shy and don't know how to pose or anything, they will only stand like this, and maybe they will afraid if you not talk to them. They will maybe think, oh my God, this photographer wants to finish as soon as possible, so I don't know how to pose. So make sure to always say, oh my God, stand like this, put this hand here, this is so good, wow, don't move, because in that case model will get more motivated and they will continue to pose even better, trust me. Combine emotion with concept. So if you're expressing emotion, if you're a storytelling photographer, then it is the best way how you will combine the emotion with a model or with a concept. So when you are choosing the model who is right for the concept, then you must find a good person. If the concept is unique, then the model must be unique. If you are taking fashion photography, then you need a fashion model, don't some other model. So every model must fit to the style, and it is so important how you will combine these together. Importance of the body language. As I said, it is so important to know what do you want to say, what concept. Do you want to show sadness? Do you want to show happiness? Do you want to show some anger or something else? Then in that case, model will know how to stand or react or show emotion. You can force the model to maybe, if you want to show some sadness in your photos, don't ask model to stand maybe like this or that, because in that case, the model, the concept don't going together with the emotion and the body language. So the concept must go together with the body language. Makeup and hair. This is also important because some of the models, I usually, it really depends. If I have some complex scenery, when I have some special makeup, then I hire makeup artist. If I have some simple concept, when it's makeup isn't so much important, then the model can do it makeup by himself. And lots of models don't know how to do makeup. Most of them know how to do. So it is so important to ask the model before they come to the set, or when you hear with them, can they do makeup? They're maybe very good at the makeup, so you don't need the makeup artist. I have one model, she's my muse, and she poses very good. She's so professional, and she's also doing a professional makeup. So it is 2+1, and on the set, so you don't need a makeup artist. And as I said, like on the body language, it is so important how you will combine the makeup with the whole set. And when it comes to storytelling photography, I think the best way is to not have too much makeup, maybe a little foundation, maybe some mascara, and a little bit of eyeshadow, not too much, because you're telling stories, you're not showing makeup. If you are especially making makeup photography, and especially for the makeup artist, then you need a special makeup. And the same for the hair. For a storytelling photography, it is so good to have some messy hair, wavy hair, and not some strict forms, because it will always people don't look at it, because maybe it will be too much, everything together, the whole set. Now I will show you the video, what I'm talking about. And this is the blue truck. Here I'm picking the dresses. As you can see, I have lots of dresses, different colors and everything, and it is so hard for me to choose the right one. But for this photo shoot, I knew that I wanted the blue dress. I had only a few dresses blue, so this one was the choice. And I love this dress. So magical. And here we have troubles, because I wanted her to stand on the truck. Of course, I always have some crazy ideas. And it was so hard to place the model to put the dress to go very smoothly on the windows, because she has troubles climbing up on the truck. She has to stand on the door of the truck and then to go. We were holding her and her sneakers, and when she go up, the whole dress messed up. It looks like a cloud. So we had lots of troubles here. And then at the middle of this process, I said, Natasha, stand up on the truck, then we'll bring the whole dress here, and then you will sit, because this is the best way. You can see here, she's having troubles, and now she stand up. I said, you see? And now I always hide the legs, because and the knees, it will look strange. The legs must be very straight. And here also I have an assistant. And here I'm showing you how to pose, how the whole set, because I wanted to show how she's reaching to another level, to another world with this truck, all the flowers around her. Later, we added a smoke bomb effect. And I always love to make the dresses around, because I always love to put the dress all around the model. I don't love to see how she's standing on the dress, or how to look the grass. And that is why I put, that is why I love to not having the dress in the picture and in the video. And it's always so important to make the dress, the whole final touches before you start. And the hair and the makeup and the whole pose were very beautiful here. Yeah, this is the raw image I want to talk about. So here, this was the perfect scene, because we had such a perfect amount of the smoke from the left side, on the right side, and she is such a great pose. But at this image, I didn't like the sky behind. It was so empty. I didn't have the clouds or anything, and it was so it feels like lonely. So in that case, in the final image, I wanted to add the sky, and I eliminated the grass and these stones. I didn't like the grass in my photos, and it doesn't go with the whole scene. So here, this is the final image, and here, this is another scene of the portraits through the window. This is such a nice, because we have this the sun going through the window, and it gives such a nice reflection to the model. And when she was standing, when she was sitting, it was very funny, because when we entered the door, there was a lot of bugs, and I'm afraid of the bugs. And during these photo shoots, I pass this fear. I don't have any fear of the bugs, because the love of photography was strongest, of course. And when she was sitting in the truck, I said to her, don't look anywhere else, look only at the seat, because it doesn't have seat here. Look at the dress and look here, and only on the camera, and don't look around. And it was very hard, because we didn't have a seat. She must sit in her own dress, and then to start taking photos. This is the final image, this is the raw image, and I really love everything here. Everything, the composition is really great. We have such a nice sunset, and the city, sunny sun goes through the window, her eyes looking at the camera. I love everything about this image, and I only change the color. So I will edit this image at the end. Okay, so this was the blue truck. Now we will go back to the next photo shoot, and this is the bicycle photo shoot. So this one was one of my favorites, because we have such a big team here. And but before, I want to ask you about the models. Have you worked with the models before? I work with the models only a few occasions, or not yet. I'm very interesting, because the models are main part of the subject in photography. When I was starting with photography, I was taking photos of the nature, and I tell myself, you never taking photos of the people are so boring. I don't love taking photos of people. And now, yeah, it is so important, because they know they're showing emotions, they act. It is like a movie. I'm very interested to see the answer. So now we will see the results. Most of you said on a few occasions, oh, this is okay, I regularly work with the models, okay, and then not yet. Yeah, I think you should start working with the models and to plan the whole concept and to hire a special model for that type of photography. And if you have some troubles, you can send to me messages and ask, oh, Jovana, is this a good model for my project? So I'm very kindly to ask. Good. So let's start the bike photo shoot. The preparation, open field, location, and why. As some of you probably know, I'm really interested and I love taking photos in open fields and when there's not so many things are happening in the background, because in that time we have the most focus on the whole prop, on the whole scene. So you will see only the scene and nothing else. That is why the open locations are very important and very nice for the photo shoot, because you can bring everything you want. You can bring the bike, you can bring the truck, you can bring few models, and everything will look interested because you will creating your own scene. And I really love taking photos on locations. Wind, good or bad? Yeah, here we have lots of troubles with the wind because it was such a strong wind. It always happening. Every time I have some complex photo shoot and I want to do it on open field, every time I have a strong wind. And every time I have troubles with the smoke bomb, with the dressmaking, and always happening, but I made it at the end because I trust that some of the photos will look nice at the end. So wind, if we have such not a strong amount of the wind, that is nice because wind changes the color, the direction, the dress. It looks good if you have not the strongest wind. But if you have a strong wind, then if you can change the photo shoot day, you change because it gives such a troubles. If whatever you're doing, the dress doesn't look nice, the smoke bomb, the smoke effect doesn't look nice or anything because you have lots of troubles. And especially if you're taking photos in open fields. If you're taking photos in the forest, or you can change location, of course, you can take photos at the forest, in your garden or inside, if you have a really strong wind. And when I mean the strong wind, I mean more than 25 kilometers per hour. Doing this photo shoot was 29 kilometers, and it gives such a high headache. Making the bike, how much time? So this bike was created, let me see, 6 years ago. Oh my God, so much time. And I had an idea in my head where I wanted this bike, like circus bike, and I wanted to use it for one of my photo shoots. And I was searching who is making this bike, how do I find the people who is making. I found it, I was searching online and I couldn't find. And because lots of people are doing only regular bikes, especially here in Serbia, because we don't have as many sources like abroad. But one time I met one friend and she said, I explained this to her and she said, oh my God, I had one guy who is making this type of props. And I was said, give me his number and I contacted him and he said yes, because he was very interested. He loves to make some interesting props. And when I have very interesting photo shoot and more interesting props, then he will make it because he's very good at it and he knows what material to use, which size to be. I explained to him, well, I want a bigger bicycle, I want maybe to be from the metal, and then he knows how to combine everything together. And this is so important when somebody is making a prop for you. It is so important to have some sort of time when you go to him to check if everything is okay with the prop, how it looks like, to say to him, oh, you must fix that, this is not good, this is best, this is good. So if you don't visit that guy and you only receive the final product and you are not satisfied, then it is so hard to bring that back. And especially if you're paying that, this isn't cheap, this is expensive prop. So it is so important to know, explain what do you want exactly. Transport and time organizing. This is also important. Every time when you're having a complex photo shoot like this one, I love to time organize always, and how to do the transport. Here we have 2 cars and we are going together to the location. The time organizing means that I need around 1 month just to make the bike. So we need around 1 hour just to pick up the bike from my apartment and then go bring to the car, and then to hold stable the bike on the car. Then we need half an hour just to go to the location. Then when we arrive to the location, then we needed maybe 1 hour just to bring the bike to the location and to decorate the whole bike. The shooting was 1 hour and a half long, and after we have to remove all the flowers from the bike, and then again bring the bike to the car, and then go to the apartment again. So it took around 8 hours just for this project, and it was very exhausting. That's why we need such a bigger team. And you already know, you must know how much time approximately you need to go to the location, to check on Google Maps how much location is far away, and how much time you need to make everything settle down. Bring food and water. This is also important, especially if you're taking photos the whole day, and bring as much water as possible and the food. Then bring the notes. I always bring notes when I do the complex projects, because I always write down ideas and which scene I want first, which scene I want next, because in that case I won't forget. And if I have as many props, if as many, then I will probably forget, because I have so many things to think on the set that day. And it is so important to bring the notes and to put in front of you, and just to look at these notes and write down. Then we have this the final image. I want to say more about this final image. I really love this, the whole composition and the whole set. Here, like the previous photo shoot, I had troubles with the sky. We didn't have such a nice sunset, and it was empty, and I wanted to add in the editing process the sky, and these colors are very amazing, and the whole flowers and the whole composition looks very great. And here you can see how the wind is going in her hair and the dress, and the smoke effect goes to the one direction. And it is so important to have a very professional monitor when you're doing that. And to me, I'm using currently BenQ SWB321C monitor. Previously, I was using 271 monitor, also from the BenQ. This one I'm using 3 years, and I'm very satisfied. I want to ask you, especially, how do you edit your photos? So do you edit your photos on a professional monitor? Do you on a regular monitor? Do you laptop or cell phone? I really love, back then I was using the regular monitor, and I didn't see the colors very good, and I had some troubles. And the good professional monitor is really nice to have, and for professional photographers and for designers also. Editing photos on a cell phone is also nice if you're taking photos for the Instagram stories and so, but if you're doing photography, I think you need more professional. So let me see the answers. Yeah, lots of you laptop. Okay, I bring my laptop when I travel because the display is much smaller than monitor. Regular monitor, professional, and phone. I'm so happy that you are less using your phone because you must use the professional monitor and the laptop. And also, I want to say that professional monitor is very important to me. And I want to mention that I'm using the latest BenQ monitor SWB321C for 3 years now, and I'm very satisfied how the color accuracy. I had troubles before when I was using the regular monitors. I always, when I transfer my photos from the PC to the mobile or everything else, I have troubles with the colors. It was too vibrant or less vibrant, and I didn't have the same colors on the monitor when I edit it. And this monitor changed everything, seriously, because its color accuracy is so important, and it looks like I'm on the set. It looks like I'm live editing. I see all the vibrant colors. I see all the details, and also the size. It's 32 inches 4K monitor. The size is really big because when I edit, I love to see every detail. I love to see how when I zoom in the photo, I love to see everything so close up, and the size of the monitor is also so important. Also, what I love is the color modes. It's so easily, because we have hockey puck, it's so easily to switch the modes from sRGB to black and white to see how you edit your photos, and also the matte finish. I don't see any reflections. I'm most of the time editing on the natural light, and I don't have any reflections on the monitor. If I have harsh light, I will put the shading hood, and it covers, blocks all the reflections to the monitor. And also, what I love everything about it, but what I also love is you can switch easily to vertical to horizontal mode. When you edit portraits, you can see a whole new level of editing portraits. And that's why you need a really professional monitor for your editing. It is so important, and that is why I want to mention that BenQ, because they're hosting this webinar, they have today a special offer, 10% discount code for AQ color monitors, SWV for photographers, and PD for designers. And you have here a QR code for the Europe. And this is also nice to know. Now we will bring to this slide. Scene and setup. So placing the bike. You will see in the videos how we are placing the bike. But when you're taking photos on the open fields, you never know how the ground is. Is it still like this, or is it straight? So you must know where to place the bike. The bike is pretty big, so we need the whole straight part only for the bike, and sometimes this needs more time. Then flower for decoration, because without the flowers, the bike was very empty. You can place everything you want. Maybe it will be interested with the leaves, but the flowers, I really love working with the flowers, to use flowers for my photo shoots. That's why I always use the flowers. They look so nice, the colors are very beautiful, and everything will look more dreamy when you use flowers. Combine the colors. And when you're taking photos, as I said from the previous photo shoot, it is so important to know how you will combine the colors. Do you want to combine with the scene? Do you want with the ground? Do you want with the dress, with the eyes of the model? So for this photo shoot particularly, I wanted to combine the color. Everything is pastel. The pastel tones of the flowers, the pastel tone colors of the dress. She has the blonde hair, and everything is so dreamy, magical. I always love to see what is pleasing to my eyes the most of the time, and I do in that direction. I never plan actually how which colors to use. I always imagine somehow, because I always imagine the final image in my head, how I want it to look like, and at the end I know how many flowers I want, how dress to look like, and which props I want. So wind direction. It is so important when you come to the location and to know to stand in the middle, in the center, and to see in which direction you will go, and then you will know in which direction you will place the model. Because if you place like him, if it goes there, then you will have all this wind on the model's face, and that is not pleasing to see. That is also a very great tip. So follow the process, be there. If you hire somebody like I on this project, somebody who will decorate the whole bike with the flowers, then you will need to be present there. Then you need to follow how they are doing. You probably you told them how to do, but you know what you want from this project. So in that case, you must be following to say, place more 2 flowers more here, or remove this flower, this is so strange, or place the more flower to the model hand. Here especially I wanted to place more flowers on the model's hand to look like she's connected to the whole bike and the whole flowers scene. And it is always nice to look what is happening and how the magic goes. When it comes to assistance on location, the creation process, hire a florist. As I already said, you can always do the decoration, but it is so better to have somebody who will help you, because they know how to do that job, and they will do it in a more dreamy and beautiful way. I had one photo shoot before, and I did the decoration, and it was yeah, it was pretty beautiful, but not like when somebody is who is doing that job. So you have a lot of people who are doing very beautifully decorations, and you can decorate all the props you have. It will look amazing. Explain the concept. This means, especially for the assistant, if they didn't work with you before, they must understand what is your style, how much flowers you want, how many amount, because before they arrive to the location, they need to buy these flowers, and they for this type of, if you buying flowers on during the season, then you have lots of flowers on the street you can find. But if you are making a project outside of the season, when you don't have most of the flowers, then you will need a florist who will ask the people who are selling the flowers how many flowers, which amount, because for one photo shoot we have 3 full boxes of flowers, and this you can find on the street. You can only find to the special people, and then you wait probably for 3 days, for a week, to bring all the flowers to the florist, and then the florist bring all the flowers to the location. So this is also a process for the florist itself, and that is why it is so important to explain the concept. And then people for each scene. Here it's so important to know what person is doing. So florist is for decoration of the flowers, then guy who make the prop is for transporting the prop and making the prop stable on the ground. Then assistance is for the dress, is to making the dress beautifully on the set, and to pay attention to the hair. When you're starting photography, it is so important that you do all these jobs, and that is I did that as well. When I was starting, I did the hair, the dress, the decorating, the whole set. But when you're slowly getting into complex project, then you can do it by yourself. You just need help for that. Making a dress, final touches. This also means if the model sits beautiful and everything is beautiful around the model, then you must make the dress. If something is not looking so good, then you must pay attention before the final touches to see if everything is on the place, especially during the wind times when it's so strong wind. When it comes to the model, help the model. You will see in the video when we have this bicycle was very high, and we need a special ladder just to step the model up and then bring to sit on the bike. It was very high, so make sure to bring the ladder on the set, or some chair, or because you never know how we'll do anything on the set. Then facial expression and wind. As I said, you must know if in which direction the wind goes. If it goes to one side, then make the model on that side when the wind is going, not on the other side, because you will have some not so good effect. But sometimes this will maybe look good if you are catching some movement photos when models are running, then you want most of the wind in their head. This will look very good. Direction. Also, how you will direct the model, which hands, how do you want from them to look, if they are catching, do you want more dreamy touch, do you want to fit the scene, do you want something totally different. This is also very good to direct the model. Some of the models knows from the beginning how to stand, and especially if they're so professional. But if somebody, when it's for the first time or maybe the second time, for them will be very hard to know how to direct themselves. Maybe it's so important, maybe it's good to have some mirror in front of you and place to show to the model, and then they will know how to place the face and hands for you. Then pauses. This means if you have a long photo shoot, I mean for 5 and more hours, make sure to make lots of pauses for the models, because it is very exhausting, especially for the model and for you and the whole team. Make maybe 15, maybe 30 minutes pause during this time. Make sure to make some final touches or bring some food to eat, and then everyone will be much more motivated to continue when they don't have empty stomach. Okay, now I wanted to show you a video how this was look like. Here you can see the 2 cars we have on the set and the guy who is making this prop. Yeah, we place this bike on the location, and then we are seeing, is this too stable, where to decorate the flower? This is the florist, as I was talking, and they will searching the bike, exploring the bike, where to place the flowers. And here we are looking the wind also, you can see how the wind is strong. Here we have the fresh flowers and they are so beautiful, all the colors, pink, red, and I wanted the green also because green will look good with the flowers. If you want maybe some strict form, then you will use only flowers. But if you want some, if you have a grass under the bike and you want to combine the props with the scene, then I think it's the best to have more greens on the bike. It depends what you are creating, of course. And here you can see everything is settled down and on the right way. I didn't want to decorate where she's sitting because it won't be visible with the dress, of course. Here I'm explaining the model, how I want, and showing the photos. Sometimes I love to download the photos, especially for the model on the set, to show them which poses I want for each scene. Sometimes I found on Pinterest, for example, sometimes I sketch that, so they know how to place the hand and how the final result will look at the end. Here we are placing the model, as you can see, the leather. And yeah, we have 2 assistants who are helping her to stand, to sit. And here you can see the wind going through the hair, and it was so strong. I couldn't believe, really. And here, yeah, this is the raw image. I want to say that I always love to make spaces on the left side, on the right side, because of the editing later. I want to make the square format. That is why I need more wide angle, and I don't love to go too close to the model because in that case, I don't have enough space to work on later. So that's why I always can crop afterwards. And I wanted with this image to show that she's reaching the sky and she's reaching the roses. Later in editing, I'll added the roses going from the sky to her. I really love this whole photo shoot. And here I'm taking photos of her, and we changed the dress. We use the same color, but the longer dress, because I want to bring the more dreamy look, because as longer dress, the more dreamy vibe will give. Here she's standing, and here now we will decorate her hands. First, when I was starting and without the grass on her hand, I was like, something is missing here, some connection. So that is why I bring the florist to finish the job and to cover her hand in the grass. And I didn't want flowers on her hand because I really want the greens. And this is the raw image and the whole composition. Okay. Now, let's go back to the slides. This is the yellow forest photo shoot. This is the yellow forest photo shoot. Yeah, this photo shoot happened before the blue truck photo shoot, and we had such a little time because we started at 4 p.m. and then we had to finish around 6 p.m. It was 2 hours, and one location to another was about 30 minutes. So during this time, I had to do 2 photo shoots. We have to decorate the whole set. So I was very afraid that I won't make it, but we make it at the end, and it was very challenging. So please don't put that tight time between the photo shoots. Make sure to spend the whole day only for the project, especially when you're starting with photography and the more complex projects. When it comes to preparation, here we wanted to go for the fall colors and the season. I love taking photos during the fall because we have such a nice colors, and you can make so many different scenes by only using the flowers. You don't need any prop. You can use only flowers in different colors, orange, yellow, green, red, and you can bring all them together to the location. All the forests look good because the weather is changing. So here location I was cut, it is a park actually. I didn't need a permission because it is a huge park and nobody was there, and I didn't bring some complex props to the location. That's why I don't needed a permission. And here was because that day I was passing through the park the day before the photo shoot, and I saw this scene and I wanted, I see here a girl in a yellow dress. Sometimes my idea comes very immediately in my head, and sometimes I plan over 2 months. It really depends. So for these particular projects, I needed only 5 minutes to know that I will take photos here because the whole scenery was very nice. When it comes to location check, this is I was talking about. All of you has parks, and in this park you have lots of spaces or hidden corners where you can go and where you can place the model. You don't need the whole park. You only need one corner and one background. That looks pretty nice when you are searching for the location. And if you bring the smoke, then it will give more nice effect because smoke makes everything more beautifully and more mystical. Play with the dress color. As I said, we have on this location we have yellow leaves, and they are so strong, such a strong leaf color, and that is why I wanted to combine with the dress color. And at the end, I was very happy with the results. When I was starting with photography, I had some fear that when I choose that dress, it looks nice when I come to the location where the model dress, the whole scene will look good like I was imagined, and it always look good because your intuition is telling you that you must combine this. Only if you relax your mind. That is so much important to know, to always think, to always write down your thoughts, and to always listen to your intuition because it never lies. Bring the leather. One more tip when you're doing photography, especially in a long dresses, the leather makes model more bigger and the more mystical and the more magical. You're not seeing the big model usually, so that's why depending how much a dress is, so you can see the leather down. So if the dress is bigger, then use the bigger leather, because if the model is bigger, then it will look more dreamy and more mystical, more unusual. You will catch the attention to the viewer's eye. When it comes to scene and setup, I think it is so important to find a good spot for the model. That means that I always search when I come to the location what angle. I always go around the location, then sit down, then look up to see if everything how everything looks on the camera. So make sure to go when you go on the set to maybe 10 minutes to only see the location, only scout, only see the angles, the perspective, and then you will know where you will place the model. Here I wanted to place the model in the center of these leaves. So on the left side and on the right side, I have yellow leaves going to into the photo, and that's why I put her there. And later in editing process, I cropped the upper part because I didn't like the greens in the photos and I wanted to bring more closer. Beautiful leaves and the background. So this is so important. When you come to the location, you have beautiful leaves. Make sure to bring some leaves in front of the model, then in the center and in the back, because in that case you will have this 3D effect. And make sure to don't have some trees behind the model, because maybe it will look that the tree is going off her hair, off her head. So make sure to have some clean background behind the model. Space around the model. This means that to don't have any trees tied, because you want all the focus to be in the model, not on the tree. Imagine if you had some big tree near the model, and then you make everything beautiful, the colors, the dress, the model, and then this tree, and the people, when you look at the photos, will look, oh, look at this tree. So in that case, you must have lots of spaces around the model and not the trees behind. Now I want to ask you Have you worked with assistant before? So I usually work with a team. I usually work with just one assistant. I usually work alone. I never work with an assistant. I'm very interested about this because they are very important for the photography. Any help is welcome, and especially if you're doing some huge setups and scenes. Okay, I'm excited for the answers. So let's see the answers. Half. I usually work alone. I never work with an assistant. I was thinking that it will be like that because assistant not only means special person, it means your friend or somebody else. But let's next time maybe you try with another person just to help you to see how important it is. I usually work with just one assistant. Okay, that's good. I usually work with a team is the last. So make sure to change that in the future. Okay, so assistance now on location. The smoke effect. When you're using the smoke effect in your photos, you can use it in two ways. You can have somebody who will hold the smoke effect, or you can bring to the model to hold. But when model are holding, it doesn't look good, especially if they are wearing the beautiful dresses. And this is when the assistant is very helpful to have it. And it will be more magical when somebody else is holding the smoke effect and then the model can fit to the scene. Ask people to help you. I had this a couple of times when I have one assistant on location and I need one more person who will help me. And one old man is passing by and I ask him, oh my God, I need help to hold the dress. Can you hold the dress? And he was like, oh my God, yes. And he was holding the dress. So you never know where you can find another person who will help you. Even you don't need to think that I will need a man during the whole set or a woman. You can ask on the streets only for that scene, just somebody to help you. And somebody, for people, they're always interested to see something that, and people are always looking, passing by, looking, oh my God, they're so excited to see somebody in a dress. They always think this is a wedding or something similar, but yeah, why not to ask somebody? Eliminate distracting branches. If you place the model on location, and you have some branches in front of the model and in front of the dress, make sure to make them go away. Don't harm them, of course, but make sure to put some maybe props on that to not be visible, or to eliminate it later in Photoshop. So you will see which way works the best for you. When it comes to the model posing, explain the concept. So this means this said because this is the first time I was working with this model, and yeah, she was very good at it. I was very satisfied. But if you're doing with the fresh faces, make sure to explain what you want, that all the things you are bringing to the location, the leather, what they are so important, which location should it be, and everything else, because the model must be introduced to that. When it comes to the hair and makeup, for this photo shoot, I didn't want the wave, the hair here. I wanted the bun because I wanted to see her neck and I want to see her face. She's very beautiful. And if you want to express the face, then use maybe a bun or other hairstyle. And for the makeup, she is doing makeup herself, so this is a plus for this photo shoot. That is why she did makeup. And here I wanted maybe some natural lipstick, because we were taking photos in the forest and the yellow. So if I put the red lipstick, it won't look good, especially with all the yellow leaves around the model. Fresh new face, this I was talking about. For some models, I work with more than 10 times, more than 20 times, and they already know what I want from them. And when I work with my models which I worked before, I never explained them the concept again, or I only said, oh, we will do this and that, and they already know how to pose because they understand my style now. But if you work with the new faces, then you will know exactly what do you want to explain to the model. Don't move too fast, stay still. This is very important for the fine art models and not for the fashion models, because for the fashion photography, you are only click, 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 and the model changes the poses very quick. But for this type of photography, it's so important to make the model still. And when you finish the click, then you can go to another pose. This I always do with my models, because sometimes the image can be blurry, sometimes the model can close their eyes, sometimes they can maybe laugh or something else. So I always make sure to bring the model still, to not move, to hold the pose as long as I'm finished with that pose, and then she can do another pose. Now I will show you what I'm talking about. Forest yellow. Here I was searching for the angles on the location. You can see I'm going all around the location to see which the angle is the best and where to place the model. And it was very hard because I have so many branches around me and I have some troubles doing that. Here we are going to the location. As you can see, I hold the ladder, she's holding the bags, and we always carry something. When you're doing photography, you always carry bags. I want to see myself when I don't carry anything, but I think never will be that way. Yeah, here we are placing the ladder, and here was very interesting to see because we didn't have the stable ground, and it was facing with a problem, a big problem. And she now wanted to stand and to see if it's too stable to stand, and if it didn't, of course. So now we are placing again. As you can see, she's wearing sneakers because it is they are straight, and they know this is more relaxed when she's standing. Don't bring heels, especially when you're taking photos in a long dress, because model can stand on the mud and the leather. And finally, we find the stable ground, and here I am making the changes to the dress. I always spread the dresses to the grass to looks like the dress is part of the whole scene. And here I was placing her in the center of the leaves, and we didn't have the trees behind. Here I wanted to pose like she's searching for something. And here we have assistant. This is my brother Darko. He's also part of the team, and he always sometimes help me with the dress and the smoke effect. And here is so important if you want to have a movement in your photos, and to always somebody who can hold the dress, and then when you say now or 3, 2, 1, they will throw the dress. Here he's standing, and when I give him a sign, he throw the dress. And then it always go a couple of times. It never happened during one time. Here we are using the smoke effect, and the smoke gives such a fog scene, especially if you're using the white one. The white one gives such a mystery look to the photos and such a dreamy vibe. And here we didn't have a wind. That's why Darko is doing this, because in that case the whole scene will look more, the smoke will spread. And if the smoke goes to the one side, then Darko will go to another side. This image I love because, as always, as you can see, we have a nice amount of the space on the left side and on the right side, and the model look very big, very high, and the pose is very good, and I choose this photo to be the final image, because everything is beautiful when I look on the photo. Here we are still using, make sure to bring, if you're using smoke grenade, to bring a couple of smokes, because you never know how it will turn out at the end. Don't use only one smoke, because it's never enough. Okay, now let's bring to the treehouse photo shoot. This one is very interesting because the whole preparation was very not complex, but we had again the whole team on the set, and the model, the florist, the assistant, and the hair and makeup artist, and the whole preparation here, this location was also very interesting to shoot. So house idea. I had this idea in my head where I want to make a house, but from which material? I wanted to not have from the wood, but for the paper, because the strong paper, hard paper, because it will look stable, and I wanted the white color to decorate with the flowers, to have a window, and to put the red from above. What material to use? It is so important to know what material, because if you made the house of the wood, then of the wood material, then it will be too hard to carry to the location, and you will need probably a 5 or even 10 person who will carry only the house. And if you are using maybe some simple material or some not so heavy material, then you can use maybe a paper, because it's easy to transport. You must always think about the transport, the whole organization, and how to carry to the location. That is why you need to think about the material. Finishing touches, the color. So when I was thinking about the house, I didn't know about what color to use. I knew that I wanted the white house, but I wasn't sure, because I didn't know if I want to use the flowers, or do you want to use anything else? Do you want the whole house in the flowers? I wanted maybe just one side of the house, because I want to see the whole house, because it will be on the tree. Transport to the location. This one is very hard, because we had 2 cars, and when we pick up the house and when we go down, the house didn't fit to the car, and I was in a panic. I had a panic attack. Oh my God, we didn't what to do now, and it always happened, and you always must calm down to this situation, and to always think positive. And I remember that I have a contact of the one person who is driving the truck, so I asked him to come to the location, to bring the little house for him, because he has a whole minibus for that, to bring to the location. And he said yes, and I was very happy. And this tiny house was fitting in the truck, and then carry to the location, and the location was in the park. Sorry, this was public, the park, so we had lots of props. We had the house, the dress, lots of bags around the model, and on the location. And this guy came to us and said, what is happening here? Why you're bringing the house to the location, and where you want to take photos? And that is when I explained to him what I want, that I do photography. I showed him to my profile, and he approved. Then we go to the location. This tree is 100 years old, and it was very beautiful, one of my favorite trees. I discovered it 8 years ago, and I always have some very good ideas on the tree. Of course, we didn't harm the tree or anything. We placed with a rope, the small rope around the tree, and you will see in the video after. And that is why you must always think how you will place this prop on the location. Find a good spot. And this tree, we had lots of trees on this location, but this tree was very special, because it is so old. The branches are very big, and the house will look very good at the final result. Renting a dress, and this dress was from a special designer, and I wanted to fit this dress to the house. I chose purple because the whole scene was very saturated. The tree didn't have leaves, and the house was white, and the flowers was pink and white. That's why I didn't bring the white dress. That's why I pick up the purple dress. And in the case, it is very magical, and it is very dreamy. When it comes to the scene and setup, the most challenging thing is to placing the house. It was very hard, because the house was a little bit of heavy, and it was very hard to stay. We at the first we think that this house will stuck between the branches, but it wasn't, of course. And thanks God, I always bring to the location the ropes, the scissors, and all the materials I need for the craft. So this is when we make the whole rope around the house, and then place it to the branch. And the people were passing by, and they are looking at this, saying, this cafe, oh, please leave the house there. My kids want to take photos there. So it is always so interesting to do this. So bringing all the equipment. When I say this, I think about the scissors, I think about the rope, I think about all the paper, extra paper, I think the extra flowers. So think about the whole concept. For this concept, I wanted to make a flower house. Then I will bring more flowers, more material from the house, more material, how to place the house on the tree. So you must always think about everything. Decorating the house. As I said, I wanted the whole house to be full of flowers and in the different colors you see the connection, the whole house and the ladder are connected. I was thinking maybe should I decorate the tree, but I didn't want to place anything because the tree is beautiful by itself already. So this is, I only place the flowers on the house and on the ladder. When it comes to don't harm the tree, this means that you must carry, this is the old tree, this is in a public park, and don't cut the tree, don't put some anything on the tree because you are saving the nature, and you must use the location as easy as possible and to not harm anything. And tree stability, this means that tree must, for this type of photo shoot, you must find a tree that is too big to carry all the house and the model, and not use this type of photo shoot when the tree is maybe young or small, because maybe the model will fall down and the whole house will fall down or break the branches. Assistance on location, help on location. So here we have the whole set, the whole team of the people who are helping us with the whole set, and we need only 2 persons who will hold the houses when we are making the house on the trees. I was also helping there. You will see in the video after. So male and female, this means that some of the jobs are for the female to carry the heavy things and to place, because the females can carry most of the things that is too heavy. I had one guy who is bringing the whole bathtub like this, and I was saying, you're a Superman or something like that, because wow. It is so amazing. So for each type of the help, you need each person. Smoke effect. If you have people behind as this, if you are making photos in the public area like the parks, and you have lots of people who are passing by, make sure to eliminate these people by using a smoke, because smoke will give such a nice effect, and you won't see, the people won't be visible at the end. This is how you eliminate the people, and not in Photoshop, but later before with the smoke. Adding more flowers. When you place all the decoration, make sure to think about what do you need more. Do you need more flowers? Do you need more maybe on the left side, on the right side? What to bring more to make the scene more interested? And if you are taking outside photos outside of the season, when you don't have enough leaves on the tree, then I think you must bring more props on the location to make the scene more interesting. Watch out for the dress, especially if you are renting the dress, as I did on this project for a designer. Make sure to watch to all eyes to be on the dress, because you don't want to bring some to make some changes on the dress and to make some especially if you're afraid that you will harm the dress, or that you are throw or something. Make sure to use your dress or rent from a friend or from a family member to help you to bring the dress. Okay, so when it comes to the model posing, ladder for effect. As I said, if you place the model on the ladder, it will always look good. You can place the chair, you can bring some other prop on the location, and it will give such a nice effect. On this tree, I wanted to see the ladder visible, because I wanted to make like she's going on the tree and she's going on the house later. So this is why the ladder is visible. Makeup and hair. Here for this photo shoot, I had a special hair and makeup because I wanted after to take some portraits, and that is why I needed the makeup and the hair, and I wanted to connect the makeup with the dress color. That's why I chose the purple makeup. So avoid crowds. This is when I was talking about, if you have people passing by, make sure to maybe squat and then place, especially if you're having a hill and near the tree, then you won't see the people behind. So now I want to make another tool. So how do you plan your photo shoots? How do you plan your photo shoots? Do you extensively and in detail? I prepare the basics beforehand, or I prefer to mostly improvise. I always love to plan my photo shoots because I don't love to come to the set and then think, what should I do this? What should I do next? Because time is going, and in photography, time is very important, and how you will organize the time. So I always make sure to plan the photo shoots. Let's see the results. I prepared the basics beforehand. That is good. Approved, then extensively and in detail. That is me. And prefer to mostly improvise. That's it. I think every answer here is nice and good, because sometimes can be good to plan everything. Sometimes it's good to be on location, because if you plan something and then you go and then to see maybe it's raining or something else, then you must improvise. So it is nice to know. Okay, I really like this. Now I will show you what I was talking about. And the whole behind the scenes. Here we are carrying the house outside of the building. It was very fit to the door, so it was the back was this because it won't be visible on the tree. Only the front view is very important. Here Darko is helping me to go out with the house. Then here we are going, we are on location. As you can see, lots of bags with the camera gear, and here more bags because the florist came and she was starting decorating. Here she was pregnant, so she always loved to do this type of preparations. Here you can see that we are making the rope around the tree, and Darko is placing and making it very tight to hold. Then we are removing this rope to go back to not be visible. And as you can see, Ivana is holding the house because it will fall down. It must be very stable and must be very tight. In that case, Ivana can let the house. Model is checking Instagram and Facebook. Here you can see, because house wasn't in the right place, we moved it to the other side, and then Darko is placing the ladder to see if the ladder will hold, but it wasn't the best, so we come to the old location, and I get the tie the tree. And here we use the fresh flowers. Of course, they will look always nice in the photos. You can use the fake flowers, but I think if you are too far away, it will look good, a couple of them, but not two, because it is visible. Here I am showing the model how to stand, and here we were waiting for the sunset to come, and because I didn't want to have the hard shadows in her face, I wanted the soft and natural light. And she was touching the tree, she's looking on the side, and this is why it is a connection. So it is always nice to use the hands in a photo shoot, because to not only stand like this, it won't be a part of the concept. And here Darko is holding a dress and throwing away to make a movement to the photo. Ivana is making the final touches with the flowers, because when the model is changing the positions, the flowers are changing also. It falls down, and Ivana is making them back. Here you will see now the smoke effect behind, because we had lots of people. They're coming for the picnic here, so I wanted to eliminate them after. He always comes closer to the model and then goes back because we have a nice amount of the smoke. Okay, and here this is behind the scenes, not behind the scenes. This is the raw image. As you can see, smoke almost cover all the background, and later in Photoshop I added more smoke to cover to hide the trees behind. And here we have such a nice movement of the dress and of the pose. So I choose this picture for the final image because everything is such a nice composition. Here more smoke, and the model is, it is always so nice to bring the dress and then make the pose, because if you like this, it won't look good to stand like this. We always do this a couple of times. It never makes from the first time. Here also I loved the move of the dress. Okay, so let's go back to the slide. And the final slide, this is fall ball photo shoot. This one was very tiring, trust me, because the whole preparation was very exhausting because I need to find a ball. This is a Zor ball. This is for a water when the children are playing inside and walking on the water. So here it was very hard to find it because online you have on AliExpress, eBay, and for affordable prices. But in Serbia, it's not a practice to have this ball, especially except during the summer days when they are using this ball. But I found one guy on the internet who is selling this ball, so I wanted to rent only for a couple of hours. And this ball has a mistake. It has a hole inside, so the whole wheel didn't work well. So I use it only just for a few hours. Location scouting. This I had an idea to make the whole ball in the leaves. So I needed a location where I have tons of leaves around the model to look like she's the part of the scene, and this is her house. And that is why I going around 30 minutes from the Novi Sad where I live. It is a big forest, and I have lots of amount of leaves and trees, and I scouted this location only by going circle all around and drive slowly just to see all the angles. And if I really like some corner, I will stop by the car, by the road, and go closer to the location, feel the space and everything, and then to know which location works the best for me. So leaves and the forest means that if I wanted to connect the leaves with a ball, so that's why I needed the leaves. And leaves I wanted to put on the ball, and before the photo shoot, I collect lots of bags full of leaves. Maybe it will be 3-4 full bags of leaves, which I bring to the location. And then because this type of leaves, I want the specialty type of the leaves, and this one I didn't have here on the location. That is why I need to bring from another location with a car. Here also we had 2 cars. Bring 2 cars because this ball was very big, and we had lots of props and lots of leaves in the truck. So that is why we come to this location with the 2 cars. Carry all additional equipment. Because I am using the big Zor ball, I needed the pump, I needed the generator because we didn't have on the location we didn't have, so I needed a generator only to a ball to be working on the location, and all the scissors and only the tapes, because I placed the leaves on the 2 size tapes and then place the leaves on that stick. Bring extra gas because for generator, it was that guy who gave us the generator said it will last around 1 hour, and I didn't know how everything will turn out at the end. So we bring the extra gas in a bottle just to put it in the generator. So the whole new level of preparing the concept and the whole photo shoot. Collect leaves in the bags. So if you want to bring bunch of leaves on the location, make sure to bring the bags and to bring on the location, and it is always nice to have some extra leaves. Think about the time. So here I must plan the whole photo shoot. That means that I had to use the generator from the people, then I must come to the location, then I must pump the whole ball. We had some troubles, you will see later in the video. So I must bring the model to the location, then I have to put the leaves inside the ball. So time planning is very important. This project was very big, very, very big. For big, I mean complex. Scene and setup, placing the ball. So when I was finding the stable ground where I will place the ball, then I need to put the generator, then to put the pump, and then to go to model inside of the ball, and then to blowing out the whole ball to have some air inside. So I wanted to bring the leaves first. Hide pump obviously. Pump was very big, so I hide this with the leaves because it won't look good in the photos, and I usually don't want to have so many time when editing the photos. That's why I always hide some things on the location to have some less time when editing. Think about the model and leaves. So first we have a troubles on the set. First I was placing only leaves inside the ball and not the model, and then we started pumping the ball and with the air, and when the model came in, we have a zipper to open, and then the model came in and the whole ball was full of air go out. So we had to again to place the model, again to pump and blowing up the ball, and then it took us around 30 minutes just to blow up the whole ball. Sunset light. When I come to the location, I had some harsh light, but through the branches, and it was looking so good. And I wanted to have a sunset light for this. Assistant on location. Smoke for special effect. Again, smoke gives such a nice effect, and to cover all the leaves and trees behind. Carrying heavy things. Generator was very hard, heavy. So 3 of us was carrying only one generator. Speed up the process. This means that always so important, if you have lots of only yourself, make sure to bring one more person who will speed up the whole process, because we will have more time planning, more time taking photos, and not thinking about the whole set. Help is so important. Yeah, help is very important, and I think most of you will agree with me, and to have more assistant on location. Model posing. When it comes to the model posing, speak louder. Here we have a pump which was turned on, so I had to yell to which direction I will go, how to stand and everything, because model couldn't hear me because she was inside of the ball, and then the pump was hearing, and everything was so she didn't hear me at all. Then communicate with the model before she gets into the ball. This means that because when she goes into the ball, she couldn't hear very well, especially when the pump is turned on. And this is why it's so important that I explain the model before they go into this ball. What do you want from her? Maybe I was telling her, I want you to stand very still and to look maybe in the away, and then to place the hands against the body, and only to look very sad to the distance. And then when she looked at me, I said, now want like this, and she understand it. So it is so important to explain what do you want. Dress size, because the ball wasn't so big, I didn't bring the big dress. That is why I go for the more simple one. I didn't want to lose the ball in all the dress. Natural hair and makeup. For this particular photo shoot, I wanted only focus to be on the ball and this whole concept. That's why I go for a simple dress, for a simple hair and makeup, and that is why I needed. I didn't want some special. Okay, so now I want to ask you the last poll. And what do you find most challenging? What do you find most challenging? Communicating effectively with the model, getting the scene and setting right, capturing the image, or editing the image? most of you, most of the people who is writing me having trouble with editing. So I'm very interested to see the results. Also, lots of you have troubles with the communicating with the models. That is also very. Let me see the results. Now I will share the results. So lots of you saying that getting the scene and setting right. Yeah, I agree, because it takes practice and how you replace some things on the location and how you think about all these details. So at the beginning, I think it's only better to start with one prop, then communicating effectively with the models, then editing the image and capturing the image. Okay, so that is okay. That is good. You must know to explain the model, the whole concept, and what do you want. Okay, I love the results. So now I will show you how I added some simple things I do when I edit the portraits. So for this particular edit, I will choose this one for blue track photo shoot. And here we have a raw image, which I already very like, but now I want to do some tweaking before. So first, when I open the image, I have Camera Raw plugin. So here, I will make highlights a little bit down because I want to give more details to the skin and the whole setup. So exposure a little bit more up and the contrast. Okay. And the shadows. So here, the temperature, I want more warmer tones. That's why I would love, because we have nice sunset, that's why I want more warm tones here, not cold. Here maybe green. Then I will extra sharp the image. And I will open the image. When I open the image, I always love to zoom to see the details. Then I unlock the background. And then first, I will, because she doesn't have that much blemishes, I will use the patch tool and I will duplicate the layer and make the opacity maybe 60. And to use patch tool, I will use a place where she has blemishes to put on a place where she doesn't have the blemishes, like this, and then go. So for this, it takes time. Sometimes, if you can always choose the model who doesn't have that much blemishes. It is always a good. This is also nice. I will settle down later the skin. Now be very careful around the mouth. You can do with the hair also. Small amount, but be very careful with the hair. Okay, then forehead. Don't forget, if the hands are visible, don't forget about the hands. Here is very covered, so I don't have anything. And this, I will, with this spot healing brush tool, I will make the size bigger, hardness 90, and just do this. Wait, because the opacities, I will merge visible and then again do it like this. I don't love to have more signature marks, especially if there are two special ones, I will keep it. But for this, I want. So to settle down the skin, like the foundation, I will use the mixer brush tool, and I will choose the color of the face here. And then I will make size more bigger. And then I will settle down the whole face with this color. So make sure to change the color every time because the light is different for each side of the face. Under the eyes, cheek, forehead, here we have almost the same light. So then I will change again the neck. Here the neck a little bit. And I'm very satisfied. And make sure to always zoom out to see how everything looks like. I will now dodge a little bit the eyes. I'll put size down, hardness 0 and exposure 11. Midtones and just to pop up the eyes a little bit, not so much. Size bigger, little here, under the eyes. Oops, I got too much. Under the eyes, and I'm satisfied with this. We can go on the leaves too, but I will leave it this way. Okay, I would love to make her neck a little bit not skinnier, but more beautifully structured. But I will do in liquify tool. Let's open the liquify tool. This is tool such a great if you want to add a volume in the hair, or you see, just a little bit to make it more straight, like this, and maybe just cheeks. Okay, that's nice. Then go okay. Just a little bit of tweaking. And now the colors. I always love to use the selective color, and every color you have on the photo will place here. So we have here a little bit of blue, green and yellow, and red. So for the yellow, I will maybe saturate a little bit, then go like this. This is a practice, so this is always, you must make the image and the colors which is pleasing to the eye. And how you edit, how you use the colors tells a lot about your style, and you must keep almost the same style with the edit and your photography concept. Here, I love this. Green, let's see a little bit. Okay, here's nice. I will add more contrast and with the curves. I will go here and go up because I want the face to pop up, and on the window I want to have more light, so I will go for this curves. And what I always love to merge layers, I'm getting lost when I don't. So I will also do the photo filter. It's actually covers the photo in one color if you choose the photo filter. And here I love this yellow, but you can choose every color. You can see purple, then you can go to the black, more saturated if you want the blue. Oh, I really like this one also. You can go for this one, and then again you can change, add more photo filter. Here also can make more. And I think this is the results I will go with this image. Yeah, I'm very satisfied. It's not a lot of editing, but so much tweaking can do a lot. So less is more. And if you're satisfied with the whole composition and the model and the look, so make sure to only do a few touches. Don't go too much. Yeah, we are done with the content. So I want to call Vicente back here.
Hi, Jovana. So I want to emphasize to everyone, the webinar is not over yet. Not over yet. We're going to still have the Q&A section, but this is the end now of the content portion of the webinar. And we already have so many questions lined up, and now you're going to be able to ask all the questions you want from Jovana. And it's really fantastic to see all the content that you brought, Jovana. I mean, we were preparing this together, and even just now listening to you and then all the different details that you have with every single step, every single photo shoot, it's really quite crazy, all the thought that goes into it, all the preparation. And for those of you who don't know, Jovana, this has been 5 examples from, I think, the dozens, if not hundreds of photo shoots that Jovana has done in so many different locations in different countries with different backgrounds. Something we didn't even touch upon today is that Jovana has also done various photo shoots with animals, with horses, with parrots, with all kinds of different animals. It's really crazy of the amount of experience and the amount of work that Jovana has had with all of that. Just really, really, really cool. I'll emphasize again that the recording of today's webinar will be sent to you tomorrow, and also that we have the discount code which Jovana talked about before that we'll be showing on screen is valid for 1 month for our European participants. And yeah, so with that, we'll now go into the questions, and you can of course type in your questions into the question box, and Jovana will be able to see all of those and answer them. And for those of you who are already leaving now, we want to say thank you, of course, for coming to the webinar. Follow us on Instagram and on Facebook. You can always see webinars just like the one that we have today being announced to always stay up to date on all of the new contests and webinars and events and workshops that we have planned. Jovana is just one of the very many talented and unique people that we work with, which it's always such a pleasure for us, and always such a pleasure for us to receive you as well at these events. So with that, I will leave it to the Q&A, and back to you, Jovana.
Thank you, Vicente. Okay, let's see the questions. But I can see the questions tab. I don't see any questions.
You should see them in the questions tab of your control panel.
Question. It's empty.
Okay, from my side, I'm seeing a lot. One moment. See if you can see them now, the questions.
Okay, now I can see the questions.
Great.
Let me see. Regarding, let me see how to spread. Here. How I can spread the whole regarding abandoned places? Do you enter? Regarding abandoned places, do you enter with or without permission and have to gotten out inside an abandoned building? So the first time was happened, Cindy asked. A few times happened that we go inside abandoned places, and then one woman who is living near the house, she go there and ask, what are you taking photos of? Do you have a permission or something else? And we already explained honest opinion. Oh, we didn't know that we need a permission maybe. Then we are searching and we didn't found what permission we had. So you can always honestly speak with that person, and may it not be the problem. If you have what you said to prevent getting a ticket, So usually when you have a permission for abandoned places, you don't have a ticket. You only ask a person who lives nearby or have some connection to that place. If you're going to some public places, then you have maybe a special email who you write with, or speak to a person who is for that type. How do you find abandoned buildings? So there is not such a rule. You only go to the location and then scout a little bit, or if somebody lives near you by, then he can say, oh, we have a very nice building there, it is abandoned. Or you can search on the Instagram, you can place abandoned places maybe near your city or the town, or a follow person who is doing maybe urban photography or street style photography. Maybe they're taking some photos of abandoned places. Masha is asking, I'm making plans right now for my future business. Yes, good luck with that. If you have any help, you can write to me. The webinar is an awesome opportunity to get new ideas. I'm very happy about it. Okay, how about tattoos? Do you mean about the model having a tattoos? You need a permission. So if you're taking photos for stock photography, and then you're taking photos of the model who has a tattoos, then you have it's a big tattoo, maybe of some face or some person, then you will need a special permission for that from a tattoo designer. But if you have some small tattoos or some signs, then you don't need. So it really depends how big tattoos are. Okay. What smoke machine do you use? So it is not a smoke machine. If you want to use a machine for the smoke, you can buy on the eBay. I saw the smaller ones, but I use smoke grenades. So this is like this size, so you can hold it and then the smoke goes. You probably saw on the video when the system is holding and then smoke going around. But you have a lot of machines. You have machines for the snow, for the fog, you have for the smoke. Then if you want smoke on the ground, then you need a special machine, and this is dry ice for that. Okay, let me see another questions. For such concept, dreamy or fairy tale, is it better model from agencies, mostly doing fashion, or from where? Theo asked. I think the most main mistake photographers made is to use the model from the fashion industry to the fine art or storytelling industry, because this style of the model is totally different. For the fashion industry, the faces is different, the sharp lines, they're promoting the style, they're promoting the trends. And for the fashion or for the fine art photography, you need different types of the model. You need some soft faces, soft eyes, looks, and you must pay attention what kind of the model. So you must choose maybe some unique, maybe some different hair color, maybe some different eyes, maybe different facial expressions to catch more attention to the whole concept. Are you hiring the prop maker, florist, model when you're working with them, or do they like the project and you come together as a collaboration? Dora asked. When I was starting with photography, I did lots of collaborations with this type of the people, because when you're starting by and you need photos for portfolio and special scenes, then people will come and help you. But now at this moment, I hire people for these projects because I do this with them for more than 2 years. So they are part of the team when I do each project. And when I do, especially if I do with the clients for a client job, then I will hire the client will hire this florist I work with. So we all connected this way. So, but if you're starting, if you don't have a budget, I think you can always do a collaboration, and especially if you have in the same style as a florist or as a prop maker, and people can always do and make more interesting the whole prop. Okay, let me see. Who is buying this type of the photos? Most of the people think that art photos can buy or they are not affordable, but the fine art photos, depending which style, you can always sell the photos. It's really depends how do you sell the photo, how do you attract the clients, and this is the totally new story and whole another topic which to cover. But you have spatial galleries, you have clients who are buying the license, you have wall art prints, you have a stock size, you have a special agency who is buying this type of photos only for book covers. So you can, it is so important to have connections around the city, to always answer the people, to always connect to somebody who needs, and they will lead you to the client, or the client will come to you. At this moment, one gallery asked me to license my photos, and they will spread all over the Europe. So this is such a nice space. So this is where it is so important to know how to promote the photos, what to write, where to share, and the client will come after sometimes. Maybe not at the immediately, because for this type of photography, it needs lots of practice and lots of time to clients to attract the most right clients. What equipment do you use? I use Canon 5D Mark IV. And for the portraits, I use mostly Canon 135 millimeters, and for the wide angle, Sigma 35 millimeters 1.4, and some additional equipment like the lights if the dark is too outside, LED lights, and so. Let me see. What do you, let me see that. What inspires your ideas? How do you come up with them? This is very interesting questions because this isn't a rule. I'm inspired by the life, by the people, by the nature. So if I see some beautiful tree, then I will think about how do I combine this tree maybe with what idea. If I meet some person and hear one interesting story, then I will think, oh, I should maybe make similar story or something like that. So inspiration is creative process. Inspiration is something that is changing from seasons to season, from emotion to emotion, from period of life. So you don't have the same inspiration over and over. You only coming to the new sources of inspiration. What are your typical camera settings? When I do workshops, I usually don't say people to remember the numbers, because if you have a different light, if you have a different scenes, then these numbers will be different. But if you are doing some movement, then the shutter speed must be from 500 and more. If you are ISO must be maybe 100 and not too much, maybe until 500 is enough, because you don't want to have grains in your photos. The f-stop if you're taking portraits from 2 to 3 is okay. If you're taking wide shots and you need all things in the focus, then you need from 5 and more f-stop. So this is some sort of the settings. Jovana, it's a pleasure to hear from you. I wanted to know how you deal with the use of releases. Thank you, Sandra. Can you explain what do you mean user releases? Maybe stock sites, or can you type again here? Just, I'm very interested. Do you use any presets? Yes, I use presets as a basic. I do my own presets and I apply them when I transfer from the camera raw, but after I do lots of tweaking after the presets. When I'm in a hurry, I do only presets if I do some travel photos, but for the special scenes, I do lots of tweaking after, and I'm really enjoying editing a lot. Why do you prefer the square format, and how do you decide on where to place the elements? The composition must be always in a full. Something must be happening in the composition. So how do you place, depending what types of props you're using. If you're using a big prop, then you only need maybe one prop for that composition. If you're using too small, you will need to place all around the composition, all around the place. So the composition must be always full, something is happening. And why square format? Because it is a good selling for the wall art prints and collectors when buying through the art galleries. The square format is much more appreciated than the vertical mode, because the composition is much fuller in that way. And it looks nice to the eye. It is weird that I feel shy to ask for help on my shoots, since I can afford to hire an assistant. And when asking a friend to cause, they might not know about photography. So your friends don't need to know about photography to help you. She only need to know what do you want from them. Or, for example, Maria, can you hold the dress? Can you hold the dress? And then when I said, now you can put the dress down. You don't need to explain the whole photography level to the friend or somebody else. And don't be shy. Make sure to make some advantage of it. Make sure to make fun out of it. And don't think about, oh, I should ask somebody. Just ask, or ask your way. Don't think about how should I ask. Ask, oh, wait, can you call the dress, please, or something like that, because people will always help. If someone doesn't, then another person will come. And if two persons come, that is the plus. I was very shy. I was, I think, the most shyest person ever. So it is, everything is practice. How do you make money through your storytelling photo shots? I have lots of ideas, but they will cost a lot of money. When you are starting with photography and you need to build a good portfolio, and you need around 1 hour and a half just to make a good portfolio and to do a lot of collaborations before the clients come. Because if you make a great portfolio and the clients see, then will hire you. So I have lots of sources where I sell photos, I sell my presets, I sell art prints, I hold the workshops online and offline, I do the client photo shoot, I do the private photo shoot. So you must share your style in whole different areas, and that is the main key, to use the same style in all over the places and to not change it. I know some persons that they do the fine art, but they do maybe for the client's fashion photography, and that is not themselves. They are not there. So you must stay yourself in order to clients come to you. So do you get a lot of noise when shooting in low natural light without any flash? I use some artificial lights like LED panels when I have too much shadows, but sometimes grains can very look good on the photos also. So depending what you want to create. But the grains isn't good if you're selling photos for the stock sites. Clients want always to make changes, so the grains doesn't help. Are you using reflectors on locations? Sometimes when I have too much light and I use diffuser or to make more light into the face. But when I have the natural light and the beautiful natural light, I don't use. So I always check that before I start taking photos on location. Do you have any courses planned in Novi Sad? I had one, but I had in Belgrade in this December, so stay tuned. Check my Instagram. I really like to try making bigger photo shoot, but I don't know how I got money to realize my ideas, how I have to start. Annie asked. If you don't have a budget or if you don't know how to sell, I think the best way is to start with the stock sites or the private photo shoot, because in that way you will receiving some money and you will use this money to invest in your own projects. And when you invest in your own projects, then they will be much better. And when the projects are better and better, the clients will come and you will attract their views. That's why the photo shoot must be very your style. And it is so important to only just start. Don't think about how should I this, how should I that. Only start taking photos, and everything will clear up after. How to estimate the finances for the clients? I think that from the financing depend also the estimation of salary for the assistant florist. Other question is how to estimate how much we should pay to our models if we want to use the pictures. Some of the models ask for the money. Some of the models don't ask. Depends if you're doing with the professional models or just starting. So if somebody is just starting with modeling, then they will happy only to have beautiful photos. And how to estimate it, finances. So every month I'm having my own company. So every month I'm sending the fee for my company and for my assistants. So I have one assistant who is in my team, and I always use it, and I give him the money monthly. But for others, I hire them for each project, and each project is different. The whole price, because some of them different from how much flowers I need, where I take photos, how much people will be there. So the prices are very different from each project. How often do you calibrate your screen? So I don't calibrate. The BenQ monitors comes calibrated, so I'm very happy about it because I'm not a technical person that much. How long does it normally take you to edit the photo? It takes around 20 minutes to 5 hours. It really depends how complex the image is, how I want to see at the end. Only portraits, if I have, like you saw on the blue truck, I only did for 10-15 minutes. But if I do the whole scene, the whole composition, changing, adding the things, removing the things, then I need more time. Do you rent the natural flowers from the florist or buy them? This is maybe the most magical thing because I love the flowers. I usually rent the natural flowers, book the flowers, and then when we finish the whole set, I bring all the flowers to my apartment, or I give to my brother, for his wife, to my mother, to my husband's mother. So it is nice to have all these flowers in your home, and this is always a good. Okay, do you use strobe or some other external flash, or what power, or only natural light? I use only natural light. Natural light is all challenging and beautiful. That's why I don't need additional light. But lately, I really love to take photos in a studio and to use some reflectors and strobes. So I'm now playing with lights in the studio, and it is so great. Who are your customers? Mostly art galleries, brand who owns the dresses and this type of photos. So that is similar to my style. Hotels who are buying the photos. So I have different clients for each project. When you sell photos, do you give a percentage to the models? This can be a way also. I was practicing this at the beginning, but it was hard to follow all because I upload the photos on the few different sites, and it is so hard to follow all these things for each model because I work with 300 models. I usually now have this practice to pay the models in advance, to say then this will be here, this will be there, and then to give money immediately, and then to not think about the percent after. Roberto asks, which kind of marketing you doing for this kind of job, internet, social agency? This is a whole another level. Fine art photography isn't just taking photos. It is a marketing, it is a organizing, this is a thinking, this is a writing, this is totally thinking about all this stuff. When you're starting, you're of course doing by yourself all the marketing, and these are good photography websites such as 500px, Facebook, Instagram, where you need to upload the photos every day, different types of the day, then to write stories on Instagram, then to film, to make more interesting, and then the people and clients will come. And if you are getting more into the photography, then you will have a whole marketing expert who are doing that for yourself. Now, with photo release, I mean model release form, are you used when people are photographed and you as a photographer want to publish the images? I need this release for the stock sites where they're selling the photos, because when the clients are buying the photos there, they ask for release. And also for the model, they know they must know exactly what they want from the model. If you have any model people from the behind, then you need their permission also. Where to buy the monitor you were talking about? I can find the model in my country. You can buy it online. I'm using the SWB321C monitor from the BenQ, and it is such a great monitor. The great one was also SWB271. What would be your best tip for building your Instagram? Did it happen naturally for you, or did you do extra? I think you must connect with the public to answer their comments, to talk about the people, and to speak with them, just to engage with the public. Because you are there because of your public also, who are following you, supporting you. Then you need to give them your love also and support. Also make sure to maybe sometimes organize some giveaways. I'm not that fan of giveaways, but it is a good also. Then to upload every day, to make some hashtags, to tag particular pages, and to make more unique concepts. Where is the white dress from on the picture? Yeah, I think I work with designers who are making the dresses for me. So for each concept, I tell them maybe 2-3 months in advance which dress I want, which color, which style. So when it comes to that project, I have these dresses. So you can write me on Instagram and I will lead you. I think we don't have any questions. I think I answered all of them. If you have more, you can ask, but I think we don't have any questions.
Great. With that, I'd like to thank everyone again for coming to the webinar, and it was really a pleasure to receive all of you here with us today. And we had so many questions during the webinar as well, and it's great to see all the exchange of information. And thank you to Jovana. You've been talking now for a solid 2 hours, almost 2.5 hours, nonstop, but just so much information and so much knowledge to pass on.
It was like 30 minutes. It was for me. I was getting into it.
That's lovely. That's lovely. I think it was like that for a lot of our attendees as well. And yeah, it's really, I'm repeating myself, but it's really astounding to see just how much experience and how much information, how much knowledge there is to pass on. And yeah, with that, I can only say to everyone, thank you again for coming, and thank you for participating with us today, and thank you to Jovana, of course, as well for her time and for this lovely webinar. And remember to follow us on social media, on Instagram and on Facebook. Webinars just like the one that you saw today, we're always promoting there with incredible people just like Jovana, and always with new contests and interesting webinars, interesting workshops and events that we're doing. And yeah, as said before, the recording of today's webinar will be sent to you afterwards by email, and the discount code as well will be valid for 1 month here in Europe as well. With that, I want to say thank you again to everyone who came. Looking forward to seeing you at future events, and thank you to Jovana. And
I want to say thank you also everybody who attended this webinar. BenQ and Vicente. It was really great. I lost my voice.
Our pleasure. Thank you, everyone. Take care and see you the next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.